The air around you still carries the faint, almost ghostly sweetness of pomegranate, a scent clinging to the fine, cool dust that coats your skin. It's a subtle fragrance, a bittersweet memory of depths and darkness, mingling with the ever-present, cool breath of the underworld. You feel that fine dust under your bare feet, a soft, almost velvety texture that cushions your steps as you begin your slow ascent. You take a deep, deliberate breath, and for the first time in what feels like an age, the air feels less heavy, less dense. There's a quiet whisper, a gentle pull upwards, a subtle current guiding you away from the profound stillness that has been your companion. Your hands trace the cool, smooth rock walls beside you, feeling the faint vibrations of a world stirring far above. Each touch leaves behind a tiny, almost invisible shimmer of the underworld's dust, a quiet farewell to its muted realm. As you rise, the profound darkness around you begins its slow retreat. It doesn't vanish with a sudden burst, but softens, dilutes, shifting through shades of deep charcoal and twilight violet. You find yourself moving through a vast, natural tunnel, the cool air growing steadily lighter, carrying with it a new, almost imperceptible scent. A faint, clean earthiness, damp and fertile, utterly different from the mineral tang of the depths. The silence, too, begins to transform. It's no longer the absolute, consuming quiet of the deep earth, but a growing hush, a soft, expansive silence that hints at space and distance. You imagine it as the quietude before dawn, or the stillness in a vast forest after a gentle rain. It's a silence that isn't empty, but pregnant with anticipation, a quiet pause before the world begins to sing. You feel a subtle change in the pressure on your eardrums, a lightening that speaks of breaking free from the earth's embrace. A faint, diffused light, like the first pale wash of dawn, spills into your path. It's not the harsh glare of noon, but a tender, hesitant glow, revealing the first hints of green, of damp moss clinging to rock, of tiny, emerging shoots pushing through unseen soil. Your eyes adjust, slowly, gratefully, to this return of gentle color. Then, a new touch on your skin, not just cool, but fresh, alive. A whisper of breeze, soft as a sigh, brushes your cheek, carrying the unmistakable scent of damp earth, of bursting buds, of life stirring from its long slumber. It's the scent of spring, slow and deliberate, not a sudden awakening, but a gradual unfolding, like a lullaby sung by the nascent season. You feel the deep, steady rhythm of the earth beneath you, a profound sense of balance in this quiet return. The weight of time, so heavy in the depths, now feels as light as a nascent leaf, gently unfurling. You feel the soft, familiar warmth radiating from the stone hearth, a low murmur of embers still glowing like sleepy red eyes in the dimness. The scent of burnt olive oil, subtle and comforting, hangs in the air, a familiar signal of the day's end, mingling with the earthy fragrance of wood smoke clinging to the thick woolens you pull around you. Your bare feet brush against the cool packed earth floor before settling onto the rough weave of the communal sleeping mat. You adjust your weight, finding a space between the gentle indentations left by others, feeling the slight warmth still lingering from bodies that have shared this space through countless nights. The rustle of straw-filled mattresses nearby, the soft shift of a limb, the deep, slow breath of a sleeping neighbor. These sounds are not intrusive, but a soothing rhythm, a collective lullaby. Your own breath deepens, slowing to match the quiet cadence around you. A small hand, perhaps belonging to a child, reaches out in sleep, brushing against your arm. You instinctively shift, a gentle, almost imperceptible movement to create more room, a silent understanding passing between slumbering forms. You remember the hushed warnings from childhood, the gentle taps on your shoulder if your own restless movements disturbed the communal peace. It was a lesson learned early, the quiet respect for shared spaces, for the fragile sanctity of another's rest. Your gaze drifts towards a corner of the room, distinct even in the low light. A bed, specially prepared, its fresh linen a paler gleam against the shadows, perhaps with a sprig of dried lavender tucked beneath the pillow. You can almost smell its clean, herbal fragrance, a quiet promise of new beginnings, of comfort carefully chosen and arranged, a gift for a new household. It stands as a subtle contrast to the worn familiarity of the shared sleeping arrangements, a point of delicate beauty within the practical order of the home. From the hearth, where the last embers glow, you catch the soft, almost whispered murmur of voices. They speak of harvests, of journeys, of things that must be, of fates unfolding with the seasons. It's not gossip, but a slow, contemplative sharing, a recognition of the larger forces that shape their lives. You feel the weight of these unspoken truths in the quiet air, a human resilience woven into the very fabric of the night. Then, a distant rumble, deep and slow, travels through the earth beneath you, a soft echo of thunder, a reminder of powers beyond the walls, a grand, ancient drumbeat against the quiet of the night. You close your eyes, feeling the warmth, the quiet breathing, the weight of timeless stories, and the comforting pulse of humanity in its quiet, enduring rest. The air around you carries the subtle, comforting scent of dried lavender and polished cedar, a deliberate effort to mask the damp chill that clings to the ancient stone walls. Your fingers brush against the heavy velvet of the bed hangings, thick and plush, muffling the distant sounds of the castle and creating a private, enclosed world within your chamber. Unlike the thin, scratchy layers of a common dwelling, here, luxury is measured in depth and softness. You approach the imposing four-poster, a towering structure carved with intricate details, its sturdy frame a testament to wealth and permanence. Climbing the small, carpeted step stool, your body prepares to sink into an experience far removed from mere rest. Your hand presses down, and it disappears into a mountain of plushness. This isn't just one mattress, it's a carefully constructed edifice of comfort. First, beneath you, a base of resilient straw, meticulously packed and often renewed, provides a firm, necessary foundation. On top of that, a thick, yielding layer of wool, hand-carded and expertly stitched, offers substantial warmth and cushioning. But the true indulgence, the soft cloud that cradles your weary frame, is the topmost mattress, generously stuffed with the finest feathers, light as air yet deeply supportive. You settle onto this soft landscape, feeling your body enveloped. The crisp, clean linen sheets, cool against your skin at first, quickly warm, absorbing the heat of your body. You pull a heavy fur-lined blanket, more decorative than strictly necessary in this insulated sanctuary, up to your chin. Even in this opulence, a small, practical nightcap, a soft woolen cap, not a drink, is pulled low over your ears, a habit born of centuries of cold nights in drafty stone keeps. As you lie there, suspended in this layered comfort, your gaze drifts to the faint, ethereal glow of a distant candle, placed by a servant on a small table near the bed. It's not much, but enough to cast dancing shadows that play tricks on your eyes, hinting at the vast, impenetrable darkness beyond the castle walls. Even in your privileged comfort, the world outside dictates the rhythm. You can feel the powerful pull of sleep, a heavy cloak descending after the day's responsibilities, the endless meetings, the overseeing of your estate. This is your first sleep, a deep, untroubled plummet into oblivion. Yet, a part of you remains vigilant. Perhaps you've chosen to lie propped slightly upright with extra bolsters behind your back, a preference some hold, believing it wards off ill spirits or ensures a more watchful repose against the unseen dangers of the medieval night. A faint, almost imperceptible scent of dried herbs, lavender, perhaps a hint of rosemary, still lingers in the air from a small censer, burned earlier to cleanse the air, perhaps even to deter any unwelcome, tiny nocturnal visitors despite the meticulous upkeep. You close your eyes, the warmth, the softness, the protective cocoon of your elaborate bed lulling you into a profound quiet. Even with all this luxury, the ancient rhythm of humanity and the subtle superstitions of the age still thread their way into the very fabric of your rest, shaping how you surrender to the night. The persistent scent of damp earth and simmering stew still hangs in the air, mingling with the sharper, musky aroma of livestock kept close for warmth. You feel the cold seeping through the thin layers beneath you, pressing against your skin. It's a familiar, bone-deep chill that never truly leaves the small dwelling, even with the dying embers glowing faintly in the hearth. You've found your spot, not a grand bed, but a worn patch on the hard-packed earth floor, or perhaps a few rough-hewn planks that offer little softness. You run your hand over the scattered rushes, their dry rustle a constant companion, feeling the small, sharp ends poke through the thin, woven mat that serves as your only barrier from the ground. Beneath that, a sparse layer of straw, flattened and compressed from many nights, offers a meager cushion, shifting and crackling with every movement. Close beside you, you feel the radiating warmth of another body, a sibling, perhaps, or even a stranger taking refuge for the night, their presence a shared defense against the biting cold. The soft, rhythmic breathing of several family members creates a steady, comforting chorus around you, a palpable sense of communal existence. Further off, in a designated corner, you can hear the soft rustling and occasional snort of a sow, or the faint clucking of chickens huddled on their perch. They are not just animals, they are living, breathing heaters in this harsh medieval night. Their familiar animal smells part of the very fabric of your sleep. Sometimes, a phantom itch prickles your skin, a subtle, unwelcome reminder of the unseen life that shares your straw, a constant battle against fleas and lice. The discomfort can grow, gnawing at the edges of your slumber, making you shift, scratch, and occasionally, even abandon the floor for a hard wooden bench or a stool, hoping for a brief respite from the tiny invaders. You might have even tried burning dried herbs earlier, sweet-smelling sage or lavender, its smoke a temporary, fragrant shield against the pests, believed also to cleanse the air of ill humors and bring peaceful dreams. As you lie there, the absolute darkness is a weighty blanket. There are no streetlights, no distant lamps, just the profound, starless void that presses against the small, smoky window opening. Your mind, though weary, might sometimes conjure fleeting shapes in the deepest shadows, the old tales of night spirits and wandering demons whispering at the edges of your thoughts. Perhaps this is why some, when sleep doesn't come easily, choose to doze sitting upright, leaning against a wall or a chair, a posture believed to offer a measure of protection, a way to be less vulnerable to the unseen dangers of the medieval night, less completely surrendered to the unknown. Eventually, though, the day's exhaustion claims you, pulling you deep into that first, heavy sleep. Despite the hard ground, the jostling bodies, the ever-present chill, and the tiny creatures that share your space, a profound rest overtakes you. It is not always peaceful, nor always unbroken, but it is the honest, raw sleep of a body that has worked hard, adapted fiercely, and found its rhythm within a world defined by the sun, the moon, and the tenacious spirit of humanity itself. The chill isn't just in the air around you. It feels like it's seeping into your very bones. A persistent dampness that no amount of daytime labor can entirely banish. The last lingering light from the hearth has long since faded, leaving only a vast, encompassing darkness that presses in from every side. You shiver, pulling your rough wool tunic tighter, feeling the coarse fabric scrape against your neck. Your hands, calloused from the day's work, reach instinctively for the small, familiar object placed carefully near your head on the straw mattress. It's not a cup of spiced wine, not a modern nightcap to soothe the mind, but a tangible, soft, conical shape of densely woven wool. This is your true nightcap, a simple yet essential piece of your nightly ritual. You can feel the faint lanolin scent, earthy and comforting, as you take it into your hands, the wool slightly rough but promising warmth. You pull it over your head, and the immediate sensation is one of profound relief. The wool hugs your scalp, covering your ears and forehead, creating a small, insulated dome against the creeping cold. The outside world, with its sharp edges and biting air, suddenly feels a little more distant, a little less threatening. You feel the instant trapping of your own body heat, a private pocket of warmth forming around your head, a small victory against the vast, dark expanse of the medieval night. As you settle deeper into the rustling straw, pulling a thick, heavy blanket up to your chin, the nightcap becomes a silent sentinel, guarding against the drafts that seem to find every crack and crevice in the dwelling. You can still hear the soft, rhythmic breathing of others sleeping close by, a gentle murmur in the profound quiet, but your own world feels singularly protected. The weight of the darkness outside is immense, a solid block against which your small, wool-enclosed head feels secure. No artificial lights pierce this gloom. Your sense of time is dictated by the subtle shifts in the air, the deep silence, and the ingrained wisdom of your body. The night stretches out, a canvas of unseen possibilities. Sometimes, a dream might surface, vivid and fleeting, believed by many to be a whispered message from beyond, a hint of fate or a divine warning. With your head cozily encased, these nocturnal voyages feel a little safer, a little more contained. You lie there, listening to the deep quiet that settles over the land, broken only by the occasional distant hoot of an owl or the rustle of straw as a fellow sleeper shifts. Your nightcap isn't just about warmth. It's a small, tangible barrier against the overwhelming unknown of the medieval night. A simple garment that speaks to the enduring human need for comfort, security, and a peaceful surrender to the long hours between dusk and dawn. A sharp draft snakes through the cracks in the wattle and daub wall, carrying with it the faint, unsettling cries of unseen creatures from the moonless night. Your body, already tired from the day's ceaseless labor, can't quite settle into the restless comfort of your straw mattress. Perhaps it's the insistent itch of unseen inhabitants within the bedding, tiny pests that make full surrender to sleep feel like an invitation to torture. Or perhaps it's something less tangible, a prickle of unease that whispers of shadows and the unknown. You push yourself up, the rustle of straw a quiet protest against your movement. The idea of lying completely prone, utterly vulnerable, feels suddenly wrong. There's an old fear, passed down through whispers by the flickering firelight, of what might stir when the world is plunged into its deepest darkness. Witches, night hags, mischievous spirits. They are said to prey on those who lie fully defenseless, their souls exposed. To sleep completely stretched out, fully horizontal, is to invite their touch, to become a soft, still target. So, you seek a different kind of rest. Your hand finds the sturdy, worn wood of a stool or a simple chair near the dying embers of the hearth. It's hard, unyielding, a stark contrast to the rough softness of your bed, but it offers a different sort of safety. You settle onto it, your back finding purchase against the cool, rough wall behind you. Your knees are drawn up, or your legs are stretched awkwardly out, your body a collection of angles rather than a relaxed line. You pull your thick wool cloak tighter around your shoulders, its familiar scent of wood smoke and damp earth a small comfort. Your head, still covered by your nightcap, might nod, dipping forward in sudden, brief surrenders to unconsciousness. But you never truly give in. Your muscles hold a residual tension, a readiness that is always just beneath the surface. You can feel the cold radiating from the stone or packed earth floor beneath your bare feet, a constant, grounding sensation that pulls you back from the edge of deep sleep. This isn't the profound slumber of the first sleep you know from other nights, nor the deep, healing rest of the second. This is dozing, a state of perpetual vigilance. Your ears remain attuned to the subtle shifts in the quiet, the whisper of wind, the distant hoot of an owl, the unseen scurry of a mouse. Each sound pulls you closer to full wakefulness before the heavy weight of exhaustion drags you back into a light, fragmented sleep. Dreams, when they come, are often vivid, urgent, easily remembered upon each jarring awakening, almost like messages meant to be caught. You hold this vigil, a silent guard against the unseen dangers of the medieval night, finding a strange, enduring strength in this awkward posture. It's a testament to a world where comfort was a luxury, and survival meant bending to ancient fears and practical necessities. Your body finds a way to rest, even as your spirit remains a sentry, adapting to the shadows that dance both outside and within, finding resilience in the very act of not entirely giving in. A subtle prickle begins on your arm, just beneath the rough wool of your sleeping tunic. You try to ignore it, to sink back into the heavy embrace of your first sleep, but it insists, growing from a tickle to a distinct, infuriating itch. Your fingers reflexively scratch, a quick, almost unconscious movement, but it does little good. The sensation spreads, a phantom army marching across your skin. You shift on the straw mattress, the dry, brittle stalks beneath you crunching with a sound like dry leaves. It's a familiar sound, one that whispers of not just warmth, but also of hidden life. You know what it is, even in the deepest darkness. Tiny, ceaseless, unwelcome inhabitants that have made your bed their home. Fleas, quick and darting, leaving behind their telltale, maddening bites. Or perhaps the more persistent, crawling sensation of lice, clinging to hair and fabric, always just beyond easy reach. A new itch blooms on your neck, then your ankle. You scratch vigorously now, pulling your arm out from under the heavy blanket, feeling the cool night air raise goosebumps on your skin. The momentary relief of scratching is quickly replaced by a deeper, more widespread irritation. You can almost feel them, scurrying, biting, a relentless tide of minuscule tormentors. Sleep becomes a battle, a constant skirmish against an invisible enemy that clings to every fiber of your bedding. You pull your knees to your chest, trying to make yourself a smaller target, burrowing deeper into the coarse wool blanket. But it's futile. They're in the straw, they're in the wool, they're on you. The air, faintly smoky from the herbs burned earlier to ward off cold and uncleanliness, offers no defense against these hardy survivors. The scent of dried rosemary and lavender, meant to soothe, now feels ironic, a sweet mockery against the undeniable, physical discomfort. Sometimes, the itching grows so unbearable that you push yourself up, sitting abruptly in the pitch black. The relief of being off the infested straw is immediate, even if short-lived. You consider moving to the cold, hard floor, or even trying to doze upright on a stool, just to escape the relentless assault. It's a desperate measure, trading warmth and what little softness you have for a chance at a few unbroken minutes of oblivion. Your fingers rake through your hair, a common gesture, a silent, nightly ritual of inspection and defense. The thought of deep, undisturbed rest feels like a distant luxury, a dream for another life. This constant, low-level irritation becomes part of your sleep, a background hum of discomfort that trains your body to be ever so slightly on guard. You eventually lie back down, defeated, hoping that sheer exhaustion will finally pull you under, even if the tiny whispers of the bed continue their irritating song against your skin, a testament to the raw, unadorned reality of medieval slumber. A bitter, green tang suddenly cuts through the stale, earthy air of your dwelling, sharp and distinct. It's the scent of rue, perhaps, or wormwood, carried on the thin, curling wisps of smoke that drift from the small, glowing censer in your hand. The scent is meant to be a guardian, a cleanser, and you inhale deeply, feeling the medicinal taste coat the back of your throat. You move slowly through the profound darkness, the faint, shifting glow of the embers in the censer casting dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls. Your first sleep has ended, and the long, silent hours of the watch stretch before you. This is the time when the hidden world stirs, when drafts seem colder, and the unseen inhabitants of your bed feel more insistent. You shake your head, trying to dislodge the lingering fuzziness of sleep, your fingers rubbing instinctively at a fresh, tiny itch on your forearm. With careful movements, you guide the censer around the perimeter of your straw mattress, allowing the fragrant smoke to permeate the bedding. The hope is that the pungent, herbal vapor will discourage the incessant fleas and lice, those tiny, irritating companions that can make restful sleep a constant battle. You feel the warmth of the small flame on your fingertips as you tilt the censer, watching the smoke coil upwards, a silent prayer for a cleaner, less infested slumber. Beyond the practical, there's a deeper purpose. The medieval night holds fears beyond mere bugs. Superstitions whisper of ill humors in the air, of malevolent spirits that prey on the vulnerable. This smoke, imbued with the potent essence of herbs gathered with care, is believed to purify, to drive away such unseen dangers, and to invite a more peaceful, divinely guided sleep. You can almost feel the air lightening, becoming less heavy, less menacing, as the herbal aroma takes hold, pushing back against the damp, cold emptiness of the night. You stand there for a moment, simply breathing, allowing the smoke to settle around you, to penetrate your clothes and hair. The taste in your mouth is cleaner now, less earthy, more sharp and green. It's a small, self-made ritual of protection and comfort in a world where such things are hard-won. As you finally return to your straw, pulling your rough blanket tight, the air feels different. It's a sensory balm, a testament to humanity's enduring need to create pockets of serenity, to cleanse the immediate world, and to find a fragile sense of peace in the deepest, most uncertain hours before the dawn. A guttural, almost painful gasp pulls you from the depths of your first sleep, a dream clinging to the edges of your awareness like dew on a spiderweb. The cold, sharp air of your monastic cell immediately assaults your skin, a stark contrast to the lingering warmth of your rough woolen blanket. The silence is profound, broken only by the faint, distant echo of another monk shifting in his own narrow bed, or the soft creak of ancient timbers responding to the night's deep chill. You push yourself up, your joints protesting with a stiffness that comes from hours of hard labor and the meager comforts of a straw-filled pallet. Your fingers, already growing numb, fumble for the small, precious candle stub and the tinderbox you carefully placed within reach. A spark catches, a fragile flame springs to life, and the vast, oppressive darkness recedes just a little, revealing the stark, familiar geometry of your cell. The flickering light casts dancing shadows, making the rough-hewn stone walls seem to breathe. The dream, vivid moments ago, threatens to slip away, dissolving into the formless void of forgotten slumber. You close your eyes for a moment, pressing your hands against your temples, urging the fragmented images to coalesce. It was a message, you feel certain, a whisper from beyond the veil, a fragment of divine guidance or a subtle warning. In these long hours between sleeps, the watch, such communications are often believed to be most potent, most clear. Reaching for your small, well-worn notebook and the quill beside it, you feel the cool, smooth parchment beneath your fingertips. The inkpot is cold, the ink perhaps a little thick. You dip the quill, its scratchy tip a familiar presence against the rough paper, as you begin to transcribe the fleeting remnants of your nocturnal journey. Each stroke is deliberate, an act of capture, an attempt to solidify the ethereal into something tangible. You recount the figures, the symbols, the emotions, your breath puffing out in small clouds in the frigid air as you concentrate. The small flame dances, illuminating your serious, focused face, a solitary sentinel against the endless night. The scratching of your quill is the only sound you make, a soft, rhythmic counterpoint to the deep quiet of the monastery. You feel the slow passage of time, marked by the candle's diminishing height, as you analyze each detail, each potential omen, searching for meaning that might guide your prayers, your thoughts, your very actions in the days to come. This isn't just a record, it's a profound act of spiritual interpretation, a tireless quest for understanding in a world steeped in both tangible hardship and unseen mysteries. It is a testament to the human spirit's unending search for connection, even in the deepest, most isolating hours of the night. A low, insistent bleat, closer than you'd expect, pulls you from the warm embrace of your first sleep. Your eyes snap open in the utter blackness, and for a moment, you're disoriented, the rough feel of straw beneath your back the only constant. The air, though cold, carries the distinct, familiar aroma of damp earth, a faint animal musk, and the distant, dying embers of a hearth. This is the watch, that strange, liminal hour between sleeps, a time not for turning over, but for rising. You push yourself up, the wool blanket falling away to expose your skin to the biting chill that penetrates the small dwelling. Your bare feet find the cold, hard-packed earth floor, sending a jolt up your legs. The silence is profound, but you hear the soft rustling of hay nearby, the gentle shifting of small hooves, and another, softer bleat. It's a familiar sound of contentment, but also a call for attention, a reminder of responsibilities that extend even into the deepest hours of the night. You fumble in the dark, finding your heavy cloak, pulling its rough folds around you, and step carefully towards the corner where your small flock of goats and a few chickens huddle. They are more than just livestock, they are a source of warmth in the cold season. Their shared body heat a small comfort, their presence a quiet assurance in the vast darkness. Your hands reach out, guided by instinct, touching coarse fur, feeling the warmth radiating from their tightly packed bodies. A soft whicker from a goat, and then a cold, damp muzzle presses into your palm. You stroke its head, feeling the soft hair between its budding horns, listening to its calm, rhythmic chewing. You check their water trough, running a hand over the surface to ensure it's not frozen solid, then reach for the small bundle of dried grasses you set aside earlier, offering a small midnight snack. The chickens, roused by your presence, stir on their roost, a soft clucking sound echoing in the close space. The dampness of the earth seems to seep into your bones, but the shared warmth of the animals offers a quiet comfort. This isn't just work, it's a silent communion, a vital part of the rhythm of your life, connecting you deeply to the cycles of the land and the needs of your charges. You stand there for a while, simply being present, listening to the soft sounds of living creatures breathing around you. The cold muzzle against your hand, the gentle bleats, the quiet rustle of hay. These are the sounds and sensations of your world, demanding attention even in the quietest hours. Eventually, you turn, leaving them to their renewed slumber, and make your way back to your own bed, feeling the lingering chill but also a renewed sense of purpose. The scent of goat and damp earth clings to your cloak, a subtle reminder of the life you tend. As you lie down for your second sleep, the memory of the cold muzzle, the soft hooves, and the quiet bleats remains, grounding you in the profound, unwavering resilience of your shared existence beneath the enduring medieval night. The last sliver of fierce, red sun dips below the horizon, pulling with it the day's warmth, leaving a sudden, undeniable chill to seep into the very stones of your dwelling. The light, once generous, now drains away with an astonishing speed, transforming familiar shapes into indistinct masses. A profound darkness gathers, not a gentle twilight, but an insistent, enveloping blanket that presses in from every crack and crevice. There are no lamps, no candles, save for a precious few for vital tasks, to hold back this tide of night. Your body, attuned to this ancient rhythm, feels the subtle shift. A heavy weariness settles deep in your bones, a natural response to the sun's retreat. The world slows. The frantic pace of the fields, the bustling of the market, the endless chores, all fade into the encroaching gloom. This isn't a choice, it's an imperative. Without the sun, the day simply ceases, ceding its dominion to the vast, long hours of the medieval night. You prepare for your first sleep, earlier now, much earlier than in the full flush of summer when the sun lingered stubbornly in the sky. Back then, you might have worked until the sky turned purple-black, pushing the boundaries of daylight, stealing precious extra moments for harvest or repair. But tonight, with the brief, weak light of the shorter days, the urge to seek your straw mattress is undeniable. A primal urge to conserve warmth and energy against the chill that promises to deepen. The darkness inside your home becomes almost absolute. You can barely make out the faces of those who share your space, relying on the soft sounds of breathing, the rustle of movements, the familiar sense of wool and wood smoke. You lie down, pulling the rough blankets high, feeling the deep chill penetrate even through the layers. The absence of light means the night stretches out before you, an enormous expanse of time to be filled primarily with rest. Your first sleep arrives quickly, a deep surrender born of exhaustion and the overwhelming quiet. When you stir, perhaps an hour or two past true midnight, the world outside is still steeped in the same profound blackness, the air colder now, sharp with unseen frost. There's no bright lantern to extend your waking period. Your brief time awake, the watch, is conducted in whispers and shadows, perhaps tending to a small need, or simply observing the stillness, before you settle back down for your second sleep. This long, dark interlude, stretching for what feels like an eternity, shapes your very being. It is a time for deep rest, for quiet contemplation, for the body to repair itself in earnest. The ebb and flow of sleep is not a personal choice, but a cosmic command, dictated by the relentless, unwavering journey of the sun across the sky. Your body adapts, resiliently syncing with the planet's ancient turning, finding its own rhythm within the relentless cycle of light and dark. The faint, lingering scent of ale and wood smoke still clings to your tunic, a subtle reminder of the convivial hours just past. Outside, the world has long since fallen into the profound, inky blackness that swallows up all light after sunset. The air that brushes your skin is sharp, biting with the undeniable chill of a late medieval night, a stark contrast to the robust warmth you've just left. Many would have already completed their first sleep, stirring now for their midnight watch, but for you, the night has only just begun its serious work. You move through your small dwelling, guided by the familiar touch of rough walls, your eyes slowly adapting to the gloom. There's no need for a precious candle or lamp, not now. The day's tasks, whether haggling in the market, mending nets by a dim hearth, or sharing stories over a last tankard, have kept you awake, pushing past the natural urge for an early repose. This chosen delay, this extended period of wakefulness, means your body will follow a different path through the dark hours. You reach your simple bed, a straw mattress on the floor, and you simply fall onto it. There are no elaborate preparations, no careful arrangements of multiple layers for a gradual descent into sleep. You pull the rough woolen blanket over you, feeling its familiar weight. The air is still, the sounds of the night minimal, perhaps a distant dog's bark, or the soft creak of the house settling deeper into the cold. Your body, weary from the day's late exertions, welcomes the rough comfort, craving the deep oblivion. As your eyes close, you feel the tiredness seep into every muscle, every bone. You don't anticipate stirring again until the first gray light of dawn touches the window slit. There will be no hour of quiet contemplation, no restless tossing, no tending to animals or secret conversations in the dead of night. For you, the vast stretch of darkness ahead is a single, unbroken canvas for rest. You surrender to it completely, sinking deeper and deeper into an uninterrupted slumber, a heavy, dreamless descent that feels almost like falling. When you finally do stir, it's not from a sudden wakefulness, but a gradual lifting, a slow return to consciousness as the first faint blush of gray begins to paint the eastern sky. The air is still cold, but your body feels profoundly rested, your mind clear, free from the fragmented edges of a mid-sleep awakening. This is your rhythm, a straight path through the night, a quiet defiance of the world's usual segmented slumber. It's a different kind of resilience, finding deep, continuous rest in the long, dark hours, emerging ready to meet the new day in a world still mostly asleep. A sudden chill pricks your exposed cheek as a shift in the straw mattress disturbs the precious pocket of warmth you've been cultivating. Instinctively, you press closer, feeling the solid, radiating heat of another body against your back. It's not just one, but two, perhaps three other forms, shifting with their own shallow breaths under the shared, rough woolen blanket. In the profound, absolute darkness of your medieval dwelling, the bodies piled together become a single, vital furnace against the relentless cold that seeps in from the gaps in the walls. You stir fully from your first sleep, but there's no room to stretch, no space to truly spread out. Your knee brushes against a smaller, sleeping leg, and you feel the soft, uneven rhythm of a child's breathing near your ear. The scent is a mix of unwashed linen, human warmth, and the lingering, faint smell of the day's labor. This closeness, an intimate tangle of limbs and breath, is not merely comfort, it's survival. Without the combined heat of these huddled forms, The chill would be unbearable, the long hours until dawn an agonizing, shivering torment. You shift slightly, careful not to fully awaken those around you. The coarse fibers of the blanket scratch lightly against your chin, a familiar sensation. You hear the faint, soft sigh of the person beside you, perhaps a spouse or a sibling, completely accustomed to this shared space. There's a certain primal security in this human mass, a collective shield against the vast, dark emptiness beyond your fragile walls. The sounds of the night, the whisper of wind through a crack, the distant hoot of an owl, are muffled, softened by the dense cluster of sleeping forms. Your eyes, now open in the blackness, see nothing, yet your senses are alive to the intimacy of the situation. You feel the slow rise and fall of chests, the occasional twitch of a limb, the subtle redistribution of weight as someone momentarily seeks a more comfortable position. There's no expectation of personal space, no demand for solitude in sleep. Instead, there's an unspoken agreement, a communal endurance, where the simple fact of another living, breathing body next to you is a blessing, a bulwark against the raw hostility of the medieval night. You pull the heavy blanket tighter, drawing in its shared warmth, feeling the slight tension as another hand tugs it up a fraction higher on their side. It's a dance of negotiation, a silent understanding within the confines of the bed. As your second sleep begins to draw you back down, the constant, gentle pressure of bodies around you becomes less a constraint and more a cradle. This shared bed, this press of humanity under a single blanket, is a testament to resilience, a deeply ingrained habit forged by necessity, where warmth and the enduring presence of others ward off not just the cold, but the profound isolation of the dark. The biting cold, a relentless adversary, seeps into the small dwelling. You stir, not fully awake from your first sleep, but enough to feel the chill stealing through the thin walls. Your arm, uncovered for a moment, feels like a block of ice, a stark contrast to the radiating warmth of the small body tucked against your side. A child, perhaps your own, perhaps a guest taken in for the night, breathes softly, their tiny chest rising and falling against your ribs. Their little hand, surprisingly cold, finds purchase on your arm, and you instinctively pull them closer, tucking their small form deeper under the communal, scratchy wool blanket. Around you, other forms shift on the packed straw mattress. You feel the long, steady breath of another adult on your neck, their presence a solid wall against the penetrating cold. Maybe it's a neighbor, a weary traveler seeking shelter, or simply another family member. In this world, warmth is a currency, and shared space is often the only available bank. The air is thick with the mingled sense of humanity, a slight earthiness from the straw beneath you, and a hint of wood smoke from the long dead embers in the hearth. The constant, soft rustling of the straw and rushes provides a subtle, almost comforting counterpoint to the deep silence. Your fingers, cold moments ago, gradually warm against the child's back, a slow transfer of heat that feels profound, utterly essential. You hear a soft snuffle, a tiny cough from the other side of the bed, perhaps a younger child, or even an animal. A small dog or a chicken, often a part of this same nightly economy, seeking the inner warmth. The sounds are hushed, intimate, weaving a tapestry of shared existence in the deep night. The occasional itch of unseen fleas, a minor nuisance in these beds, is quickly forgotten, overshadowed by the overwhelming need for heat and the shared purpose of enduring the cold. During this brief waking period, this watch, you don't rise. Instead, you remain nestled, acting as a living barrier against the encroaching cold. Your role is simply to be warm, to contribute your body heat to the collective, to protect the smaller, more vulnerable bodies curled beside you. You adjust the heavy blanket, pulling its rough folds tighter, ensuring every gap is covered, every limb is shielded from the drafts that sneak through the dwelling's cracks. The rough wool, once a simple covering, now feels like a collective skin, a shared defense against the vast, inhospitable darkness outside. The sheer intimacy of this arrangement, the press of so many bodies, would feel strange in another time, but here, it is simply how life is lived. It is a quiet testament to the resourcefulness and resilience demanded by the harsh conditions. You are all dependent on each other, a living, breathing huddle against the elements. The sense of vulnerability outside, of the raw power of the medieval night, sharpens the appreciation for this shared human warmth, the economy of breath and body heat. As you drift back towards your second sleep, the cold hands pressed against you slowly warm, softened by the pooled breath of many sleepers. This intimate tangle of bodies, young and old, familiar and sometimes unknown, is more than just a place to rest. It is a silent, profound act of communal survival, where warmth is exchanged, vulnerability is shared, and the simple act of breathing together creates a fragile, resilient haven against the overwhelming, indifferent medieval night. A faint, sweet scent of beeswax and ancient oak, polished smooth by generations, drifts around you as you stir from your first sleep. The world beyond your heavy bed curtains is an ocean of profound, unlit darkness, but within your cocoon, a deep, comforting warmth has gathered. You feel the luxurious give of multiple mattresses beneath you, first soft straw, then springy wool, finally a plush layer of feathers, a truly lavish comfort for these times. The fine linen sheets, cool at first touch, now hold the heat of your body, and the heavy embroidered counterpane presses down with a reassuring weight. You shift, feeling the familiar presence of another body beside you, deep within the shared warmth. This is the watch, that strange, waking hour in the dead of night, but for you, it isn't for tending animals or public prayer. You turn slightly, your shoulder brushing against a soft form. The air within the bed is still, hushed, creating a pocket of privacy unique in a castle where even daylight hours offer little true solitude. Here, shielded by heavy fabrics, secrets can be exchanged, strategies pondered, and intimacies shared under the cloak of absolute night. You lean closer, feeling the warm breath of the person next to you on your ear. There's a subtle, almost imperceptible movement from them, an acknowledgement that they, too, are awake, attuned to this quiet, clandestine moment. No words are spoken aloud, but the weight of unspoken thoughts hangs in the air, a silent conversation passing between you. Perhaps it's a shared worry about lands, a subtle political maneuvering, or simply the private, unguarded feelings that only the deepest night can coax out. Your hand, reaching out beneath the blanket, finds theirs, a quiet, reassuring clasp in the darkness. The complete absence of artificial light magnifies every other sense. The rustle of the linen, the soft, rhythmic breathing of your bedmate, the distant, muffled creak of the ancient castle timbers settling. These are the only witnesses to this private interlude. The world outside the bed, cold and vast, seems a distant rumor. Here, in this intricate, layered nest, a different reality unfolds. A quiet conspiracy of two in the intimate space forged by wealth and the unique customs of the medieval night. Eventually, the unspoken exchange concludes. A shared sigh, a slow release of tension. You settle back into your feathers, feeling the lingering warmth of the shared space, the comfort of burdens lightened, or plans subtly solidified. The weight of the world still presses, but for this brief time, in the deepest dark, it felt manageable, shared. As you drift into your second sleep, the memory of that close, intimate moment remains, a testament to the resilience of human connection and the power of quiet counsel, found not in the harsh light of day, but in the deepest, most private hours of the medieval night. The chilling emptiness beside you is a palpable thing, a vast, cold expanse on the straw mattress where warmth once radiated. You stir from your first sleep, but there's no familiar shift of a beloved body next to you, no comforting sigh. Just the stark, unyielding cold of the blanket where your hand stretches, finding nothing but rough wool. The profound darkness of your dwelling presses in, a heavy blanket of absence that makes the silence feel even deeper, echoing with what is no longer there. This is the watch, the hour in the dead of night when many might rise for tasks or prayer. But for you, the widow, it is a vigil, an hour claimed by grief and memory. You pull the rough nightcap tighter on your head, feeling the coarse fabric against your ears, attempting to hold in some small measure of warmth against the persistent chill that seems to cling to every surface. You sit up slowly, your body protesting the cold, but your mind is already wide awake, caught in the currents of sorrow and solitary contemplation. Your eyes, accustomed to the absolute dark, can discern nothing. There is no flicker of candle flame, no rushlight to offer comfort, only the pervasive, ancient night. This lack of light sharpens your other senses, making you keenly aware of the small sounds of the house, the whisper of a draft under the door, the subtle creak of the old timbers. You listen, not for the living, but almost as if for an echo, a memory of a voice, a phantom presence that might still linger in the shadows. A deep sigh escapes you, a quiet exhalation of the day's accumulated sorrow. Your thoughts drift to the dreams that flickered through your first sleep, hazy images that felt almost like messages, fragments of a lost life. Did they hold portents? Were they whispers from the divine, or merely the tortured workings of a grieving mind? You turn these thoughts over, searching for meaning in the dark, finding little but the heavy weight of absence. This lonely hour is your time to wrestle with these silent questions, to keep a solitary vigil in the vast, unseeing night. You remain there, unmoving, feeling the cold seep into your bones, yet finding a strange solace in the starkness of it all. This segment of the night, meant for activity, becomes instead a crucible of memory and longing. You close your eyes again, not to sleep, but to invite the mental images, to seek comfort or understanding in the privacy of your own mind. It is a testament to human resilience, this solitary endurance, finding a way to simply be asterisk in the profound quiet, waiting for the eventual promise of dawn to bring an end to the long, long wake of the medieval night. The biting cold of the unheated chapel bites into your bare hands, a stark contrast to the small, fleeting warmth of your breath puffing out into the pre-dawn gloom. The air, thick with the scent of old stone, dampness, and the faint, sweet residue of incense from earlier prayers, settles heavy around you. You are deep into the watch, that strange, liminal hour between your first sleep and the coming second, now spent standing or kneeling on the hard flagstones, your mind attempting to focus on the endless drone of the chanted office. Your eyelids feel impossibly heavy, a constant, gentle pressure pulling them downward. You try to fix your gaze on the faint outline of the crucifix, but the shapes blur, dance, then swim. Your head, a weight far heavier than it should be, begins its slow, irresistible descent. You feel the sudden, jarring lurch as your chin dips too low, snapping your neck upright with a silent, sharp jolt. A quick, furtive glance sideways confirms no one has noticed, or perhaps they too are fighting their own battles with the profound exhaustion that permeates these nocturnal hours. The drone of the brothers' voices, a rhythmic, ancient tide, washes over you, sometimes clear, sometimes a distant, meaningless murmur. Your body sways almost imperceptibly, a fragile tower fighting against an invisible current. You shift your weight, digging the heels of your hands into your lower back, seeking any small comfort against the persistent ache. The memory of your straw mattress, even its simple roughness, feels like an unimaginable luxury, a distant haven from this waking vigil. You close your eyes, just for a moment, promising yourself it's only to refocus, to gather strength. But the darkness behind your lids is too inviting, too soft, too reminiscent of the oblivion you were just torn from. The world outside blurs. Images, fragments of thought from the day, or perhaps echoes of dreams from your first sleep, flicker like weak candle flames. You sway again, the sensation of falling, a weightless plunge, then the sudden, sickening jerk as you catch yourself, muscles screaming in protest. A quiet sigh escapes you, lost in the communal chant. You straighten your shoulders, pulling your gaze back to the altar. The cold, the weariness, the endless rhythm of prayer, it's all part of the monastic life, a constant test of endurance and faith. This struggle against sleep in the deepest part of the night is not a weakness, but a shared experience, a quiet testament to the human body's demands and the spirit's relentless will. You stand, or kneel, or sway, one among many, pushing through the heavy veil of slumber, waiting for the elusive promise of the second sleep to come, and the final, blessed rest until dawn. A faint, ancient scent of old lamp oil, mixed with the cool, earthy dampness of stone and a distant whisper of incense, draws you slowly from your first sleep. You stir, not on a soft bed of feathers, but on a thin, stiff straw pallet laid directly on the cold stone floor of your cell. The air is heavy, still, punctuated only by the drip, drip, drip of water somewhere in the distant monastic walls. In the absolute, unforgiving darkness, your other senses sharpen, particularly the awareness of the hallowed ground beneath you. This is the watch, that sacred interval in the heart of the night, not for worldly tasks, but for spiritual devotion. Your rough woolen habit, already your day and night attire, feels coarse against your skin as you push yourself up. The chill from the flagstones immediately seeps into your bare feet, a constant, sharp reminder of humility and penance. You feel the presence of unseen, ancient things around you, a weight both comforting and demanding. Perhaps it's a small, venerated relic embedded in the very wall of your cell, or the knowledge that the chapel, just a few steps away, holds the bones of saints. Your mind, now fully awake, turns inward, grappling with the fragments of dreams that still cling to the edges of your consciousness. Were they merely the jumbled workings of a tired mind, or did they carry a message? A premonition? A divine whisper meant only for you, born in the quiet solitude of your first sleep. The weight of interpreting such visions is a heavy burden, a task some in your order diligently record, seeking to understand the divine will in the nocturnal landscape of the soul. You ponder these fleeting images, turning them over, searching for clarity in the vast, internal darkness. You settle into a kneeling position, the hard stone pressing into your knees, a small, welcome pain that grounds you. The cold air fills your lungs, crisp and pure. There is no artificial light here, only the profound, seasonal blackness, occasionally pierced by the faintest glimmer of a distant star through a high, narrow window, if the night is clear. The silence is not empty, but filled with the low hum of your own thoughts, your quiet prayers, and the perceived presence of generations of devotion that have saturated these ancient stones. This time, between sleeps, is a crucible for the faithful. It is where you offer your sleeplessness, your discomfort, your very thoughts as a form of worship. You are not just a body resting. You are a soul engaging with the divine, listening in the silence, seeking guidance in the dreams. The pervasive scent of aged stone and holy oil becomes a part of you, a sensory anchor to your purpose. As you eventually prepare to return to your second sleep, the cold of the stone still clinging to your skin, you carry the echo of your thoughts, your dreams, and the unshakable weight of faith. This segmented sleep, dictated by the rhythm of prayer and the absence of light, transforms the night into a profound journey, where the physical hardship is met by a deep spiritual resilience, all within the sacred embrace of stone and sanctified darkness. An insistent, frantic rapping at your door rips you from the deep oblivion of your first sleep. The sound, sharp and urgent, cuts through the heavy silence of the night, sending a jolt through your body. You instinctively pull the rough woolen nightcap from your head, the sudden chill of the air making your scalp prickle. Your heart pounds, a drum against your ribs, already knowing the purpose of this unwelcome intrusion into the deepest hours. This is the watch, not for quiet contemplation, but for a summons you cannot ignore. You scramble from your simple straw mattress, the rush of cold air immediately assailing your skin. Your hands, fumbling in the profound darkness of your small home, quickly find your cloak and a small, heavy lantern. Its tiny flame, when finally coaxed to life, casts long, dancing shadows that swallow the familiar shapes of your dwelling, transforming them into fleeting, monstrous forms. The world outside, when you finally step into it, is an ink-black void, save for the single, bobbing point of light from your lantern and the faint, urgent silhouette of the messenger. The journey through the village is a blur of cold air and hushed, rapid footsteps. The light from your lantern barely pushes back the oppressive darkness, showing only glimpses of muddy paths and silent, sleeping houses. The air carries the damp, earthy scent of the medieval night, sharp with frost. Your breath plumes in front of you, a momentary cloud of warmth against the unyielding chill. Finally, you push through a low doorway into a small, stifling room already thick with the scent of sweat, fear, and a burning cluster of herbs tucked into the embers of the hearth. The herbal smoke, meant to purify and comfort, is heavy, almost cloying. A single rushlight flickers precariously on a nearby shelf, casting a sickly yellow glow on the scene. On a low bed, or perhaps just a pile of straw and blankets on the floor, a woman writhes, her sharp, ragged breaths cutting through the oppressive silence. You move with practiced grace, shedding your cloak, your hands immediately going to work. You feel the heat radiating from her body, a feverish warmth against your own chilled hands. Her muscles, tense and straining, tell a familiar story. You lean close, your ear catching the low, guttural sounds she makes, the primal language of pain and effort. You wipe her brow with a damp cloth, feeling the slick sheen of sweat, a silent gesture of comfort and connection. Your own breathing syncs with hers, a quiet rhythm of shared struggle, of life pushing relentlessly against the boundaries of flesh and bone. The hours stretch, marked only by the shifting lantern light and the crescendo and diminuendo of her cries. You guide, you push, you wait, a silent anchor in a storm of effort and raw human experience. In this isolated, dim-lit world, suspended between the two sleeps, life hangs in a delicate balance, a testament to the enduring, brutal, yet miraculous force of humanity, struggling to bring forth new life under the watchful eye of the medieval night. A faint, metallic tang of old blood and the heavy, sweet scent of illness, cut through by the sharp, earthy aroma of medicinal herbs burning low in a brazier, wraps around you. You are awake, fully, though your first sleep ended hours ago. The deep night presses against the high windows of the hospital ward, an impenetrable wall of black. This is your watch, the solitary stretch between the midnight chimes and the whisper of dawn, a time when the suffering seems to intensify, demanding constant vigilance. You move softly, your felted shoes barely whispering on the cold stone floor. A single, sputtering oil lamp casts long, grotesque shadows that stretch and shrink with your every step, illuminating only a small circle around you. The ward, usually a cacophony of groans and coughs by day, holds a more subdued, chilling symphony now. The restless shifting of bodies on straw mattresses, the dry, hacking coughs that echo in the vast space, the low, guttural moans of fever dreams. You hear a sharp gasp, then a ragged, wheezing breath, and you instinctively turn, your body already moving towards the sound. Reaching a bed, you feel for the patient's forehead, your hand brushing against skin that burns with an unnatural heat. The rough wool blanket, meant to offer comfort, seems only to trap the oppressive warmth of their fever. You adjust the bedding, a small, futile gesture against the tide of their illness. You notice the frantic twitch of their limbs, the rapid, shallow rise and fall of their chest. Your own pulse quickens, mirroring their distress, a silent acknowledgement of the life flickering precariously. The air here feels thick, heavy, laden with the weight of unseen maladies. A subtle itch begins on your arm, a familiar irritation from the ever-present fleas and lice that infest these simple beds, a constant reminder of the grim realities of care. You ignore it, your focus solely on the fragile life before you. You reach for a small vial, dabbing a calming herbal concoction onto the patient's lips, hoping to soothe the restless spirit, to coax some moment of peace into their tormented sleep. The faint scent of the crushed herbs, perhaps valerian or chamomile, mixes with the other potent odors of the sick room. You stand there for a long moment, a silent sentinel in the gloom, feeling the profound stillness that occasionally descends, only to be broken by another sigh, another cough. This unyielding vigil, stretching through the deepest hours, demands a resilience few outside these walls could comprehend. The constant dance with suffering, the quiet battle against the encroaching darkness of illness, shapes your every waking moment. You move to the next bed, carrying the heavy burden of humanity's fragility, a silent beacon of care in the enduring, midnight pulse of the sick. A distant, ragged bark of a street dog rips through the profound silence, pulling you fully from the light slumber of your first sleep. It's an abrupt, sharp sound, followed by the soft, almost imperceptible rustling of the straw beneath your thin mattress as you shift. The air, cool and still within your small dwelling, carries the faint, lingering scent of last night's hearth smoke, a smoky sweetness that clings to the rough woolen blankets around you. This is the watch, that liminal hour in the deepest part of the medieval night, but tonight, it's not quiet contemplation that holds you, but the restless pulse of the city outside your door. You lie still, not bothering to light a rushlight, for what is there to see? The darkness outside is absolute, a heavy, velvet cloak that swallows all light, making sound the dominant sense. Through the thin thatch of your roof, and the cracks in the wattle and daub walls, the hidden life of the city begins to reveal itself. The dog barks again, closer this time, a lonely, challenging sound that echoes off unseen cobblestones. Then, a different sound emerges, slow and grating, the heavy, protesting groan of cartwheels on uneven ground, moving slowly, deliberately, as if trying not to disturb the sleeping world, yet failing completely. Who moves through the city at such an hour? You ponder this, your mind weaving silent stories around the unseen movements. Perhaps a night soil man, clearing the refuse, or a merchant trying to gain an early start to avoid the morning crowds and tolls. The rhythmic creak, creak, creak of the cart grows louder, then slowly fades, leaving a phantom echo in your ears. A low, guttural grunt, followed by the faint scurry of tiny feet within the walls, reminds you of the ever-present, unseen companions of the night, driven by their own hunger and daring. You pull the rough nightcap a little tighter, more out of habit than a sudden chill, a small gesture against the vast, cold unknown. The world outside feels immense, alive with its own secrets and struggles, a stark contrast to the small, enclosed space of your bed. You hear a snatch of hushed voices, too indistinct to discern words, but the cadence suggests two people engaged in a private, urgent conversation, their footsteps muffled by the mud. Then, the rhythmic clink of metal on stone, a watchman, perhaps, making his rounds, a lonely sentinel guarding the city's slumber. These sounds are not threatening, but rather a constant, earthy thrum, a reminder that even in the profound absence of light, life churns on, raw and untamed. You breathe deeply, feeling the coolness of the air in your lungs, the soft ache in your limbs from the simple, unyielding straw mattress beneath you. The city, never truly still, presents its midnight face through sound, a symphony of resilience and ceaseless human activity, a world that demands attention even in the hour meant for rest. This vibrant, noisy dark is your companion until the sun's first touch signals the return to your second sleep, a momentary reprieve from the ancient, enduring demands of the medieval world. The sharp, insistent creak of the heavy wooden latch on your door, though firmly secured, still sends a tiny shiver down your spine as you settle back onto your mattress of rustling straw. You've just stirred from your first sleep, the deepest part of the night having claimed its hours of oblivion. Now, in the watch, your senses are hyper-alert, sharpened by the profound, inky darkness that presses against the small, windowless dwelling. The faint, earthy smell of damp rushes and the lingering scent of last night's cooking fire mingle with the undeniable presence of other bodies, human and animal, around you. Your rough wool nightcap, pulled low, barely contains the lingering chill that seeps through the thin walls. You feel the warmth of your family nearby, their soft, rhythmic breaths a comforting, yet constant, presence. But there's also the faint, musky odor of the goat tethered in the corner, its occasional twitching and soft snorts punctuating the quiet. And, from beneath your very straw, an almost imperceptible scratch, a maddening reminder of the tiny, unseen inhabitants that share your space, a constant, itchy tension against your skin. You shift, trying to find a spot free from the persistent annoyance of a flea, an irritation that gnaws at the edges of your hard-won peace. The wooden lock, simple and sturdy, is your only true barrier against the outside world. You imagine the coarse grain of the timber, the heavy thud it made when closed. It's a sound that promises safety, yet in the vast, unprotected night, it feels flimsy, a mere suggestion of security against the unknown. You hear the distant, unsettling howl of a wolf from beyond the village, a primeval sound that echoes the wildness waiting just outside the thin boundary of your home. It reminds you of the old wives' tales, of spirits that roam freely in the dark, seeking those who lay vulnerable and fully prone. A slight unease stirs within you, A subtle urge to pull yourself into a more upright, less exposed position, just as some older folk prefer. A superstitious defense against unseen malevolence. You turn your thoughts inward, away from the sounds and sensations, letting your mind wander. This is your time, the quiet hour. Yet, the awareness of those sleeping close by, their shared breaths, their shifting weight, their silent presence, keeps you tethered to the physical world. The communal warmth is a blessing against the cold, but it also creates a subtle tension, a constant awareness of boundaries, even in spoken ones. The goat rustles again, a soft shuffle of hooves and straw, a small comfort, an animal heartbeat close by. As the deep night slowly begins its reluctant retreat, heralded by the faintest hint of gray in the absolute blackness outside, you feel your body preparing for the embrace of second sleep. The chill starts to lessen, replaced by a dull ache in your back from the unyielding mattress. This shared, precarious existence, where security is a matter of simple wooden locks and the warmth of nearby bodies, teaches a particular kind of resilience. You learn to find rest amidst the sounds of life, the awareness of threat, and the constant, buzzing hum of tiny, unseen invaders. All part of the enduring, rough rhythm of a medieval night. A sudden, sharp gasp escapes you, pulling you abruptly from the depths of your first sleep. The image, vivid and unnerving, still clings to the inside of your eyelids. A flickering candle in a shadowed chapel, illuminating a face you know, a face etched with unspeakable sorrow. Your heart pounds, a frantic drum against your ribs, and the residual tremor of the dream vibrates through your entire body. The air, heavy with the cold dampness of the deep night, offers no comfort, only a stark, profound darkness that presses in from all sides. You lie still on your lumpy straw mattress, the rustle of the dry stalks beneath you sounding impossibly loud in the absolute quiet. Your nightcap, a familiar woolen warmth, feels almost too tight around your head as you strain to recall every detail, every nuance of the vision. This is the watch, that sacred interval in the heart of the night, not for ordinary waking, but for an encounter with the unseen. The medieval world believes these dreams, especially those from the first sleep, are not random jumbles of thought, but letters from God, omens, or warnings. The weight of this belief settles upon you like a heavy shroud. You push yourself upright, sitting on the edge of the crude bed, your bare feet immediately recoiling from the icy touch of the packed earth floor. You wrap your arms around yourself, not just from the cold, but from the chill the dream has left in its wake. Was it a prophecy? A divine message about the fate of the one you saw? Your mind races, turning the images over and over, searching for a meaning, a clear instruction. You almost feel the parchment and quill in your hand, imagining the monastic scribes who diligently recorded their nocturnal visions, seeking patterns, deciphering the hand of God in the tapestry of sleep. The silence of your small dwelling is absolute, broken only by your own ragged breathing and the distant hoot of an owl, a mournful sound that seems to echo the dream's sorrow. There is no artificial light to distract you, no flickering candle or lamp. This enforced darkness forces you inward, making the dream feel even more real, more potent, as if it were a direct revelation whispered into the ear of your soul. You clasp your hands together, pressing them hard against your chest, trying to calm the frantic beat of your heart, to still the subtle tremble in your hands. The emotion from the dream lingers, a raw, poignant ache. You feel a sudden, profound loneliness in this midnight hour, carrying the burden of what you might have seen. This is the truth of the medieval night for you. A world where sleep is not just rest, but a journey into the spiritual unknown. You grapple with the potential message, feeling the morning tremors of a soul touched by the divine, a silent testament to human vulnerability and the enduring search for meaning in a world veiled by darkness and mystery. A searing, icy wind lashes at your face, though your eyes are still closed, still caught in the fading grip of a vivid dream. You gasp, a raw sound in the suffocating darkness, and your body involuntarily shivers, a deep chill that settles in your bones long after the phantom wind has passed. You are awake now, abruptly pulled from the deep well of your first sleep, the memory of the dream stark and unsettling. The air around you, within your small, shared dwelling, is heavy with the scent of damp earth, wood smoke, and the familiar, musky warmth of the cow breathing softly nearby. You pull your rough woolen nightcap tighter, not just against the physical cold, but against the chill of the dream's omen. It was a vision of your fields, not ripe with grain, but flattened, drowned under an unexpected, torrential downpour, the harvest utterly ruined. The sky in your dream was a bruised purple, and the earth slick with relentless, churning mud. This is the watch, that liminal hour between sleeps, when the medieval world believes the veil between worlds thins, and dreams carry profound weight, often divine messages or grim warnings. Your heart pounds a slow, heavy rhythm against your ribs, a drumbeat of dread. You push yourself up from the straw mattress, its dry stalks rustling loudly beneath you, an irritating crackle in the silence. Your bare feet meet the cold, hard-packed earth floor, sending a jolt up your legs. There is no lamplight, no candle flicker to push back the profound dark. Only the faint, almost imperceptible gray hinting through the single, unglazed opening high in the wall, too small to truly lighten the room. Your world, in these deep hours, is navigated by touch and sound. You reach for the heavy, rough-spun blanket, pulling it around your shoulders as you rise. Your gaze, though seeing nothing, instinctively scans the sleeping forms around you. Your wife, children, and the goat, its soft snores a familiar comfort. The warmth they generate is a small pocket of defiance against the persistent cold that creeps in from every crack. You carefully pick your way across the floor, your hands outstretched, brushing against the rough wooden frame of the cow's stall. Its warm breath washes over your hand as you check its tether, a grounding presence amidst the turmoil of your dream-haunted mind. The images of the ruined fields refuse to dissipate. You know what such a dream signifies. It's a weathered omen, a stark warning from above about the capricious nature of the season to come. You rub your tired eyes, feeling the grit of sleep in the corners. What must you do? Prudence whispers caution, demanding early action, perhaps fortifying drainage channels, or considering a different crop. The weight of responsibility, of an entire season's labor, presses down on you in the silent dark. You return to your straw bed, but sleep feels distant now, chased away by the persistent, chilling vision. You lie down, but do not fully relax, half sitting, as some believe safer against night spirits, against evil forces that might prey on a soul laid fully prone. Your mind churns, sifting through every detail of the dream, seeking interpretation. In this profound darkness, under the shadow of a prophetic warning, your resolve hardens, a quiet testament to the human spirit's resilience against the unknown, preparing to face the day's arduous demands shaped by a revelation from the deepest night. The biting, deep chill of the aged stone seeps into your very bones, rising from the floor beneath your feet and radiating from the walls that enclose this vast, silent chapel. You are slumped, half dozing, against the unyielding wooden pew, your first sleep having concluded hours ago. Now, in the profound darkness of the watch, you fight a weary battle against the overwhelming urge for deeper slumber. The faint, sweet scent of lingering incense, stale and cold, barely masks the damp, earthy smell of old stone. Your head lolls, a heavy weight on your neck, then snaps back with a small, involuntary jerk. You pull your thick woolen nightcap lower, as if to ward off not just the relentless cold, but also the unspoken dangers that roam the midnight hours. The raw discomfort of the hard wood beneath you is a constant, grinding pressure, yet you resist the impulse to fully stretch out, to lie completely prone. An old, persistent whisper of belief holds firm in your mind, a silent warning. To surrender fully to a horizontal sleep is to invite vulnerability, to expose your soul to the lurking mischief of night spirits and malevolent forces. Better to endure the aching stiffness, to maintain this upright, watchful posture, a small act of defiance against the unknown. You press your palms flat against the smooth, worn wood of the pew, feeling its unyielding nature, a mirror to your own stubborn resistance against true rest. Each subtle creak of the ancient timbers overhead, each tiny rustle of a bird stirring in the rafters, sounds amplified in the profound silence, momentarily jarring you further awake. The lack of artificial light means the darkness is absolute, a heavy, velvet blanket that swallows all forms, making the vast space feel both comforting in its enclosure and terrifying in its hidden depths. Your eyelids flutter, heavy as lead, but you force them open, staring into the impenetrable blackness, trying to discern shapes, to confirm that you are truly alone. A shiver runs through you, partly from the pervasive cold, partly from the quiet tension of the hour. Your muscles protest, a dull ache spreading from your neck to your lower back, a constant physical reminder of your chosen, half-sleeping posture. It's a deliberate sacrifice of comfort for perceived safety, a vigil shared not with other people, but with the cold, silent history of this sacred space. You shift slightly, trying to find a fresh spot on the hard wood, a futile gesture against the deep weariness that pulls at your limbs. Even in this consecrated place, the night feels alive, pregnant with unseen presences, demanding vigilance even from a weary body. The profound quiet, broken only by your own shallow breaths, pushes you further into a state of semi-awareness, a communion with the cold stone and the silent, echoing prayers of centuries past. You endure this, for the morning light will bring the second sleep, a final, less troubled rest before the day's arduous demands. This chosen discomfort, this dozing upright, is a quiet testament to a resilience born of both physical reality and ancient, deeply held fears. A faint, earthy scent of dried lavender and rosemary, smoky and almost forgotten, still clings to the air around you. A lingering ghost from the herbs burned earlier, meant to cleanse the room and ward off ill spirits. You stir, rising slowly from the shallow depths of your first sleep, the dark pressing in with a palpable weight. This is the watch, that strange, wakeful hour in the heart of the medieval night, but tonight, your mind is less on quiet contemplation and more on defense against the unseen. You aren't truly lying down. Instead, your back aches faintly against the rough-hewn wooden chair where you doze, your body angled, partially upright, your legs stretched out awkwardly before you. Your nightcap, a familiar woolen cone, keeps the cold from your ears, but it cannot banish the ancient, nagging fear that whispers in the dark. To lie completely prone, fully surrendered to sleep, feels too vulnerable, too exposed. Old beliefs, passed down like breath from generation to generation, tell of night spirits, of witches and unseen evils that prey upon the utterly helpless, those whose souls are left unguarded in the deepest slumber. You've heard the stories, felt the shiver of them, and this half-sitting posture is your silent ritual, your small act of defiance. You rub the sleep from your eyes, feeling the gritty texture beneath your fingers. The profound darkness within your small dwelling is absolute, thick and heavy, obscuring even the familiar shapes of your meager possessions. It transforms every subtle sound, the soft creak of the aging timbers, the barely audible scurry of some tiny creature in the thatch, into a potential threat, a movement in the periphery of your awareness. Your hand instinctively reaches to the small, woven sachet of pungent herbs tied to the bedpost, feeling the dry, brittle leaves within, a tiny charm against the invisible dangers. Its scent, stronger now close to your face, is a quiet promise of protection. A cold draft snakes around your ankles, a sharp reminder of the world beyond your thin walls. You pull your thick, scratchy blanket higher, tucking it tighter around your chest, not just for warmth, but for a sense of physical fortification. You imagine the other villagers, some perhaps also propped uneasily in their beds or chairs, facing their own unseen adversaries, carrying out their own silent rituals. This shared, ancient fear, this collective vigilance, is a strange comfort in the isolation of your personal watch. You shift again, trying to ease the stiffness in your neck and shoulders, a testament to your chosen, uncomfortable vigilance. The warmth of your own breath against the cold air, the gentle rise and fall of your chest, become the most real sensations in this hour suspended between sleeps. You feel the persistent pull towards your second sleep, a deeper rest, but the conscious decision to remain partially upright, a silent ward against the shadows at your bedside, holds you in this liminal state. This enduring act, a blend of folk remedy and stubborn human resilience, is your way of navigating the medieval night, finding a peculiar kind of safety in discomfort, ready to face the dawn with both body and spirit intact. The flickering warmth of the tallow candle is the last beacon in your chamber, casting long, dancing shadows across the heavy tapestries and the rough-hewn beams above. Its faint, smoky scent, mingled with the dry smell of old wood and the distant, cooling embers of the hearth, signals the true end of your day. The sun has long since sunk beneath the horizon, pulling all external light with it, leaving your world entirely to this single, precious flame. You reach for the polished brass snuffer, its cool metal a stark contrast to the small inferno it is about to extinguish. Your fingers, though calloused from the day's tasks, move with a deliberate reverence. This isn't just dousing a flame. It's a crucial ritual, a formal severing of the day's activities from the profound silence of the approaching first sleep. Every household, whether noble or common, understands the immense power of darkness and the fragile, fleeting gift of light. You watch the tiny flame for another moment, a brief, solitary dance against the encroaching black. Then, with a gentle, decisive motion, you lower the cone over the wick. The flame gutters, a tiny sputter, then vanishes, leaving behind a thin wisp of acrid smoke that quickly dissipates into the heavy air. The silence that follows is not just the absence of sound, but an overwhelming presence of darkness. It presses in on you, thick and absolute, a tangible force that suddenly defines your entire world. Your eyes, accustomed to the candle's glow, now see nothing, not even the outline of your own outstretched hand. You feel your way across the room, guided by memory and the subtle touch of objects. The cool, worn surface of a wooden chest, the rough texture of a wall hanging. Your feet find the slight rise of your bed frame. You climb onto the straw mattress, already cool from the evening air, and pull the thick wool blankets up to your chin. The scratchy fabric is a familiar comfort, a protective layer against both the chill and the pervasive, disorienting darkness. You pull your nightcap down further, feeling its warmth against your ears. The shift in your world is profound. With the snuffing of that single candle, the rhythm of your body and mind irrevocably changes. There is no lingering task, no late-night reading by a hidden lamp. The lack of artificial illumination means your existence is dictated by the sun's slow, seasonal march. Now, in this deep, unyielding darkness, your body settles, anticipating the deep embrace of first sleep, the first phase of your segmented night. You lie still, feeling the warmth slowly seep back into your limbs, listening to the soft, distant sounds of the night. A faint hoot of an owl, the rustle of straw from your own bed, the subtle shift of the house settling. It is a profound quiet, a world devoid of light's constant chatter. In this absolute dark, the human need for rest, for a surrender to the ancient rhythms, feels both universal and profoundly personal. Your body, attuned to the earth's slow turning, sinks into the first, restorative sleep, guided by the absence of light. The very last flicker of the fire, a tiny ember clinging to a charred log, finally gives up its ghost, plunging your small dwelling into an instantaneous, absolute blackness. You blink, hard, then blink again, but your eyes, accustomed to even that weak, residual glow, now see nothing, absolutely nothing at all. It is a darkness so profound it feels less like an absence of light and more like a dense, smothering presence. A heavy velvet cloak thrown over your head and shoulders. A sharp, unexpected gasp escapes you, catching in your throat, and your heart immediately begins a frantic, uneven rhythm against your ribs. Panic, cold and swift, washes over you. In this medieval world, without the constant comfort of modern lamps or streetlights, this sudden, total dark is not just disorienting, it's a primal shock to the senses. You raise a hand, intending to brush against the familiar rough-hewn beam above your head, but your fingers find only empty, suffocating air. The air itself feels colder now, heavier, as if the darkness has drawn all warmth and life out of the room. You can almost feel it pressing in, a tangible, physical weight. Your breath comes in short, shallow gasps, each inhale a struggle against the unseen. You strain your ears, trying to locate some familiar sound, some anchor in this featureless void. The rustle of straw from your mattress, the faint, distant hoot of an owl, the subtle creak of the house settling. Each sound is amplified, distorted, seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. It's as if the darkness has sharpened your hearing, but only to fill it with unsettling echoes. You pull your simple woolen nightcap lower, a small, almost desperate gesture against the sheer, overwhelming emptiness. You shift on your simple straw bed, its lumpy unevenness now a strange, unsettling landscape beneath you. This isn't the managed darkness of a modern age. This is the raw, unyielding night that dictated life and death, that fostered superstitions and shaped the very pattern of sleep. You remember the sun, a blazing memory from hours ago, now utterly swallowed by this impenetrable veil. Your sleep, too, will be different, segmented, driven by the rhythms of this total absence of light. Slowly, deliberately, you force yourself to exhale, a long, shuddering breath, then another. You focus on the rough texture of the blanket against your skin, the subtle ache in your back from the day's labor. The initial panic begins to recede, leaving behind a deep, lingering sense of awe and a profound humility. You are a small, fragile point of consciousness in an overwhelming sea of natural dark. This isn't just night, it's the very fabric of existence in this time. You lie there, feeling the powerful, physical weight of the dark, a universal experience that binds you to all who have lived and slept before the dawn of artificial light, reminding you of the human body's deep, ancient surrender to the Earth's immutable cycle. A deep, aching stiffness in your joints, a familiar companion of your elder years, pulls you gently from the hazy depths of your first sleep. You stir on your simple, straw-filled mattress, hearing the dry rustle of the stalks beneath your weight, a soft whisper in the profound darkness. The air around you, heavy with the scent of damp earth and the ghost of last night's hearth smoke, is chill, settling into the very marrow of your bones. This is the watch, that strange, wakeful interlude woven into the heart of the medieval night, a time not for deep slumber but for quiet contemplation. You pull your thick, woolen nightcap down tighter over your ears, a small gesture against the persistent cold. Your eyes are open, but they see nothing in the absolute, lightless void of the room. There are no lamps, no candles, no lingering embers to break this heavy blanket of night. Your world, in these deep hours, is purely sensory. The feel of the rough linen sheets, the subtle creak of the ancient timbers overhead, the faint, steady rhythm of your own breathing. Your body has followed this pattern for countless years, a natural rhythm dictated by the sun's slow journey across the sky and its inevitable departure each evening. You push yourself to a sitting position, your back protesting with a low groan. The silence is immense, broken only by the occasional snore from your son, sleeping nearby, or the soft, shuffling sounds of the animals in their stalls just beyond the thin wall. This quiet is a companion to your thoughts, a vast canvas upon which memories unfold. You find yourself drifting, not back into sleep, but through the vivid tapestries of your life. The joy of a bountiful harvest, the sting of loss, the faces of those long gone. These fragmented hours, these small waking islands in the long sea of night, have always been a time for the mind to wander, to connect with the past, to sift through the day's worries and the echoes of dreams. Your hands, gnarled and rough with age, rest lightly on your knees. You trace the lines etched onto your skin, each one a testament to years of labor, of seasons weathered. The concept of unbroken sleep, of a single, deep plunge into oblivion from dusk till dawn, is foreign to you. It's an alien thought, as peculiar as trying to stop the sun from rising. For generations, your people have embraced this segmented slumber, waking naturally after the first sleep, to tend to animals, perhaps, or to pray, or simply, like now, to exist in a space of quiet reflection before the second sleep reclaims you until dawn. The chill slowly deepens, a quiet reminder of the world outside. You let your thoughts drift, feeling the quiet rhythm of the house, of the earth itself, turning slowly in the dark. There is a peculiar comfort in this ancient pattern, this fragmented night. It allows for a richness of inner life, a time when the external world ceases its demands, and the mind is free to roam, to remember, to simply be. As the hour of the watch slowly draws to a close, a gentle weariness begins to pull at you again, signaling the onset of the restorative, second sleep, a final surrender to the night before the first pale light of morning. This enduring, fragmented sleep, a tapestry woven with memory and quiet wakefulness, feels like the most natural state, a deep connection to the enduring rhythm of humanity and the earth. The soft, sleepy weight of a child's arm, draped trustingly across your chest, pulls you deeper into the communal warmth of the straw mattress. You stir slightly, feeling the dry, rustling give of the stalks beneath you, a gentle symphony in the profound medieval darkness. The air, thick with the earthy scent of unwashed bodies, stale wood smoke, and the faint, musky presence of nearby animals, is surprisingly comforting. This isn't just your bed, it's a shared haven, a vital huddle against the relentless cold of the night. You shift carefully, trying not to disturb the two little ones curled tightly at your side, their small, often muddy feet occasionally brushing against your own. Their breathing is soft, rhythmic sighs that blend with the deeper breaths of your partner on the other side, and the occasional snuffle from the pig in its pen just beyond the thin wall. The complete absence of artificial light means the room is a single, impenetrable block of black. Your eyes, wide open for a moment, discern absolutely nothing. It's a primal darkness that has governed every night of your life, a natural signal for bodies to seek warmth and rest. You reach out a hand, your fingers brushing against the smooth, damp skin of a child's forehead, then adjusting their small, woolen nightcap, pulling it down to better cover their ears. It's a simple, repeated gesture of care. The warmth radiating from these small bodies is a tangible blessing, a living hearth against the pervasive chill that threatens to seep into every corner of the dwelling. There's a raw, undeniable comfort in this close proximity, a security found in the press of flesh against flesh. Even as you lie there, feeling the familiar prickle of stray straw against your cheek, and perhaps the faint, irritating tickle of a flea, you don't consider leaving this shared space. The luxury of a solitary bed, a private sleep, is an unimaginable extravagance. Here, together, is where safety and warmth are found. The sounds of the night, a distant dog's bark, the whisper of wind through the thatch, the soft cooing of chickens from their perch near the hearth, are all part of this shared experience, a lullaby of the living world outside your immediate huddle. Your own body, weary from the day's endless labor, gradually relaxes into the rhythm of their sleep. The rough blankets, worn smooth in places from generations of use, are pulled high, enclosing you all in a tight, protective cocoon. This shared slumber, this entanglement of small bodies and larger ones, becomes a profound act of survival and connection. It speaks of a deep, ancient humanity, of finding warmth and security not in individual isolation, but in the enduring, physical presence of your kin. It is a quiet testament to life lived close, where the most basic needs, warmth, protection, and rest, are met through the simple, powerful act of huddling together against the vast, dark medieval night. The intense, dry heat from the roaring stone oven blasts against your face, a stark, fiery contrast to the pervasive chill of the deep, pre-dawn hours. The air around you is thick with the sweet, yeasty aroma of rising dough, mingled with the earthy scent of wood smoke and your own sweat. You wipe a flour-dusted hand across your brow, feeling the coarse texture of the cloth. Outside, the world sleeps a profound, absolute darkness, but here, in the heart of the bakehouse, a different kind of day is unfolding, driven by fire and the relentless need of the village. Your body aches with a deep, persistent weariness, a fatigue that began not at sundown, but hours after everyone else had settled into their first sleep. For you, the call of the oven and the demand for fresh bread for the morning market pulls you from the briefest, most fragmented of slumbers, or sometimes, no sleep at all until the sun finally crests the horizon. You've become accustomed to this inverted rhythm, this silent vigil while the rest of the world rests, lost in their dual phases of sleep. You heave another heavy wooden peel, loaded with still pale loaves, into the blazing mouth of the oven. The momentary blast of light and heat makes your eyes water, but you barely notice. Your movements are practiced, efficient, a dance honed by countless nights spent in this solitary pursuit. The rhythmic thump of the kneading board echoes softly in the cavernous space, a steady heartbeat against the vast silence of the sleeping village outside. No flickering candle offers more than a token glow here. Your true light comes from the consuming fire itself, a fierce, primal illumination. You feel the subtle shift in the dough beneath your hands, the increasing elasticity, the faint, internal hum of the yeast at work. It's a small, intimate triumph in the face of the monumental task. Your thoughts, unburdened by conversation, drift through the quiet, a contemplative space unique to those who labor through the deepest hours of the night. You imagine the families still lost in the embrace of their second sleep, unaware of the relentless toil happening to bring them their daily sustenance. A shiver runs through you, a combination of the oven's radiating heat and the lingering cold that seeps in from cracks in the stone. You pull your thick, simple tunic tighter, feeling the ingrained dust of flour that seems to cling to every surface. The sun is still hours away, a distant promise, but the first batch of bread will be ready soon, its crust golden, its interior soft and warm. This night, like so many others, becomes a testament to human resilience, to the unseen labor that stitches the community together. Your body is a raw instrument, fueled by necessity, enduring the peculiar rhythm of a life lived out of sync with the natural sleep of others. As the scent of perfectly baked bread begins to fill the air, you feel a profound exhaustion settle deep in your bones, but also a quiet sense of purpose, a unique human connection to the waking world, built one sleepless, bread-filled night at a time. The biting chill of the true midnight air hits you sharply as you finally step out of the forge, a stark contrast to the inferno you've just left behind. The acrid smell of burnt coal and quenched steel still clings to your tunic, a persistent ghost of your labor. Your ears ring faintly from the ceaseless clang of hammer on anvil, and your muscles, particularly those in your forearms and shoulders, feel like rigid, unyielding cords, heavy with the day's, or rather, the night's, relentless work. You drag your calloused fingers across your jaw, feeling the stubble, the grime, the sheer exhaustion etched onto your face. While the rest of the village has long since been lost in their first sleep, and some may even be rising for their quiet watch, your day has just begun to wane. The sun's setting held no promise of rest for you. Instead, it marked the beginning of your solitary vigil over the glowing coals, shaping metal under the raw light of sparks. You're a creature of the forge, tied to its fierce rhythms, not the gentle ebb and flow of the sun's absence. Your steps are heavy, plodding through the mud and scattered straw outside the forge door. The world outside is a canvas of absolute black, a profound, consuming darkness that swallows all outlines. You don't bother looking for stars. Your gaze is fixed on the invisible path to your own small, humble corner within the shared dwelling. You pull your thick, simple nightcap tighter around your ears, less for warmth than for the sheer, ingrained habit of it. You finally reach your sleeping place, a simple straw mattress laid directly on the earth floor, already cold and unyielding. The luxurious, layered beds of the wealthy are a distant, alien concept. You collapse onto the rustling stalks, feeling their rough unevenness against your aching back. There's no time for a gentle descent into slumber. The sheer physical demand of the blacksmith's craft means sleep comes swiftly, a heavy, irresistible weight. You don't typically experience the segmented sleep of others. Your body, utterly spent, plunges straight into a deep, unbroken void. Your hands, gnarled and stiff, refuse to fully relax, the memory of the hammer's weight still present in their unyielding grip. You can almost feel the phantom heat of the glowing iron in your palms. It's a strange, intimate pain, a testament to the work that defines you. You pull the rough wool blanket up, finding a momentary comfort in its scratchy embrace. The overwhelming fatigue washes over you, silencing the ringing in your ears, softening the ache in your limbs. In this instant, your body surrenders completely to its profound need for rest, a testament to the raw, enduring resilience of a life lived by fire and steel, even as the rest of the world slumbers in its own quiet, segmented peace. A tiny, persistent prickle starts somewhere on your arm, then another, spreading like a silent, invisible tide beneath the rough wool blanket. You try to ignore it, pressing your elbow deeper into the straw mattress, but the itch grows, an insistent demand from unseen occupants of your bed. The air around you, heavy with the communal warmth of several bodies, the faint scent of stale rushes, and something indefinably animal, feels thick and close. You shift minutely, a slow, cautious movement designed not to rouse the heavy breathing figures on either side of you. To scratch openly, vigorously, would be to acknowledge the inevitable, to admit defeat in this nightly, silent battle. The profound, absolute darkness of the room, unbroken by even the faintest glimmer of light, only amplifies the internal sensation. You can feel them, 100 tiny pinpricks, crawling, biting, making their presence known in the unseen depths of your bedding. It's a relentless, creeping torment. Your fingers twitch, a silent protest, as you try to quell the rising tide of irritation without betraying your discomfort. The mattress beneath you, a simple affair of tightly packed straw, rustles softly with your careful adjustments, a dry, almost brittle sound. This isn't a bed designed for solitary, pristine slumber. This is a shared landscape, a necessity, a warm huddle against the cold stone and the deeper, more unsettling vastness of the medieval night. The rough texture of the blanket against your skin, meant to offer comfort, now feels like a prison, trapping the microscopic invaders close. You pull your woolen nightcap lower, a familiar gesture, trying to retreat further into yourself, to find a small pocket of privacy even within this intimate tangle of bodies. The sounds of others' sleep, a gentle snore, a quiet sigh, the rustle of their own adjustments, weave a tapestry of shared existence, and with it, shared inconvenience. You know they too are battling their own unseen enemies, experiencing the same quiet mortification and the same inescapable itch. It's a collective plight, a universal truth of life in this time. Your body tenses, then forces itself to relax, a practiced surrender to the inevitable. There's no escaping it, not truly. This is the reality of medieval sleep, a constant negotiation with the very fabric of your environment. You press your cheek against the worn linen pillow, breathing deeply, willing the irritation to recede, if only for a few moments. It's a testament to human resilience, this nightly submission to discomfort, this quiet endurance of an itch that never fully fades, as you wait patiently for the second sleep to reclaim you, offering a temporary, if fragile, reprieve from the relentless demands of the small, unseen world sharing your bed. The pungent, earthy scent of dried lavender and rosemary rises, thin and insistent, as you carefully drop a small, crinkled handful onto a smoldering ember. A wisp of pale blue smoke immediately curls upwards, twisting in the dimness, carrying its protective fragrance into the close air of your small dwelling. It's a ritual as old as the hills around your village, a nightly preparation not just for sleep, but for safety in the profound medieval darkness. You watch the smoke unfurl, a silent prayer whispered in its curling forms. Tonight, the air is particularly damp and heavy, a chill that seems to cling to your very bones, promising a long, cold night. You've felt the telltale prickle of unseen guests in your straw mattress before, the tiny, relentless bites that turn sleep into a fitful, irritating battle. This carefully gathered bundle of herbs, dried and saved from the summer sun, is your quiet shield, a humble remedy bought with patience and hard labor. Your hands, rough with the day's work, gently waft the smoke towards the corners of the room, then over the simple bed of straw and rushes you share with your family. You feel a small spark of hope as the familiar, clean scent begins to displace the heavier odors of wood smoke, stale cooking, and sleeping bodies. It's a small measure, a fragile defense, but a necessary one. You imagine the tiny, crawling creatures recoiling from the pungent fumes, perhaps seeking refuge in a neighbor's less prepared dwelling. Beyond the immediate discomfort of bugs, there's a deeper, less tangible fear that lingers in the absolute blackness that descends each night. Whispers of evil spirits, of unseen forces that stir in the hours between dusk and dawn, are not just old wives' tales, they are felt realities. The smoke, in its cleansing journey through the air, acts as a ward, a silent barrier against these unseen dangers. It's a psychological balm as much as a physical one, bringing a fleeting sense of peace before you surrender to the night. You don your woolen nightcap, feeling its familiar scratch against your forehead, and carefully extinguish the ember, plunging the room into absolute, impenetrable darkness. The only sounds now are the soft rustle of the straw, the steady breathing of others in the room, and the distant, lonely call of an owl. You settle onto your mattress, pulling the rough blanket high, the lingering scent of herbs a fragile promise of undisturbed slumber. In this deep, lightless medieval night, your world shrinks to the immediate sensory experience. The lingering aroma of the herbs, the slight chill in the air, the feel of the coarse bedding. The small ritual, performed with care and intention, is a testament to the enduring human desire for peace and protection in the face of uncertainty. It's a silent act of resilience, a quiet reclaiming of the night, one bundled herb at a time. The lingering scent of roasted meat and sweet, fermented ale still hangs heavy in the air, mingling with the damp chill that seeps in from the vast medieval night. A distant, final strum of a lute echoes faintly in your ears, a ghostly reminder of the wedding feast that only hours ago filled this very hall with boisterous laughter and stomping feet. You shift on your makeshift bed of rushes, feeling the scratchy give of the dried stalks beneath you, a stark contrast to the rough wool of your tunic. You've already had your first sleep, a brief, restless surrender that ended not with your body's natural rhythm, but with the persistent clamor of the continued revelry. Now, in what would normally be the watch, your hour for quiet contemplation, prayer, or perhaps checking on a stray animal, you find yourself still very much awake, surrounded by the breathing forms of dozens of fellow villagers and distant kin. The air is thick with the scent of unwashed bodies, mingled with the last vestiges of celebratory cheer. Every available surface of the great hall has become a temporary dormitory. You are squeezed between the snoring bulk of a distant cousin and the surprisingly warm, quiet presence of a child you barely know, an unfamiliar elbow pressing into your ribs. The sheer number of people crammed into this single space creates its own stifling warmth, a human furnace against the relentless cold of the night. It's a strange comfort, this shared huddle, but a far cry from the usual, more intimate tangle of your own family bed. You pull your woolen nightcap lower over your ears, a small attempt to create a private world within this communal slumber. But the sounds of sleep are everywhere. Soft snores, murmurs, the rustle of someone turning, the faint, undeniable tickle of unseen guests making their own nocturnal journey through the communal rushes. This is not the quiet, contemplative watch, you know. This is a shared exhaustion, a slow, communal drift towards a second sleep that feels distant and elusive, postponed by the sheer force of human connection and celebration. Your muscles ache, not from work, but from the prolonged sitting, the dancing, the sheer effort of joy. Your eyes are heavy, yet the strange environment keeps them from fully closing. The embers in the hearth, once a blazing beacon of festivity, now cast only faint, dying glows, painting the scene in shifting, shadowy grays. The absolute darkness of a normal night is softened by these scattered flickers, a testament to the extended hours of this special day. This night, a profound disruption of your body's accustomed rhythms, highlights the raw, beautiful reality of shared life in the medieval world. Your usual, segmented sleep is sacrificed for the sake of community, for the joy and sorrow that bind everyone together. You are just one more body in a sea of humanity, experiencing the temporary loss of your own sleep pattern, all in the enduring, resonant presence of your kin. It's a testament to resilience, this ability to adapt, to find a communal peace even when your personal night is profoundly rearranged. The sickly sweet taste of stale ale coats your tongue, a gritty residue from hours of revelry. A dull throb pulses behind your eyes, keeping rhythm with the distant, still echoing laugh of a reveler who refuses to admit the festival has ended. You stir, slowly, feeling the rough texture of the packed earth floor against your cheek, the cold seeping into your bones despite the lingering warmth of bodies pressing in around you. You are slumped against a wooden trestle table, the remnants of a feast still scattered on its surface. Your own body, a heavy, unwilling mass, feels as if it's been poured into your worn tunic. The sun, a brutal, unwelcome intrusion, sends fingers of pale, dusty light through gaps in the hall's thatch, painting the scene in hazy, unfamiliar tones. This is not the gentle dawning after a natural, second sleep. This is the stark, jarring return to consciousness after a profound, unbroken collapse, a sleep driven by exhaustion and the merry abandonment of all natural rhythms. You push yourself up, groaning softly, feeling the stiffness in your neck, the ache in your joints. Your woolen nightcap, a familiar comfort meant for a proper bed, is askew, barely clinging to your head. Around you, a landscape of slumbering figures stretches out, men, women, children, some curled tightly, some sprawled awkwardly across benches, on straw, or directly on the cold stone. The air is thick with the mingled scents of stale wine, sweat, and something indefinably sweet and earthy from the rushes that carpet the floor. You missed your first sleep entirely, and certainly the watch that typically separates the night into its two distinct phases. For days, the festivities had pushed past sundown, defying the natural darkness with the blazing light of bonfires and the flickering glow of torches. Your body, usually attuned to the moon's cycle, had surrendered instead to the relentless pace of celebration, fueled by song and drink. Now, the daylight feels alien, a foreign presence in this communal aftermath of unbridled joy. You find your hands are still clenched, a memory of gripping a tankard or a dancing partner. You rub them together, trying to coax feeling back into the numbed fingertips. The world outside the hall is slowly waking. A rooster crows, distant sheep bleat, but here, time feels blurred, a continuum of festive excess, where day bled into night, and now night awkwardly bleeds back into day. This profound exhaustion, this surrender to an unbroken, heavy sleep, is the price of such intense communion. It's a testament to the raw, human capacity for both revelry and endurance. Your body, heavy and protesting, slowly begins to reassert itself, a resilient vessel pulling itself back from the depths of a festival-induced stupor, ready to face the new day, even if that day started long before you were truly ready. The stale scent of damp wool and unwashed bodies presses in around you, heavy and close, as you finally settle onto your meager sleeping space. The rhythmic creak of wooden beams overhead, combined with the low murmur of several unfamiliar snores, forms a strange, unsettling symphony in the profound darkness of the inn's common room. Your own cloak, still clinging to the cold dampness of the road, is your only extra bedding, its rough texture a poor substitute for comfort. You lie on a simple straw mattress, little more than a pile of rustling stalks scattered directly on the cold earth floor. It offers scant cushioning, its unevenness digging into your weary bones. The wealthy might sleep on layers of wool and feathers, but for a traveler like you, this rough bed is a luxury simply for being indoors. You've pulled your woolen nightcap down low, trying to create a small pocket of warmth and solitude in this shared space, a small gesture of personal ritual against the overwhelming presence of strangers. Around you, other travelers are already deep in their first sleep, their forms barely discernible lumps in the absolute dark. You can feel the warmth emanating from the bodies pressed close on either side, a strange, communal heat that is both reassuring and vaguely disquieting. You came to bed later than most, after a frugal meal and a quick, hushed exchange of travel news by the dying embers of the hearth. For you, there will likely be no distinct first and second sleep. The sheer exhaustion of the road often means one long, unbroken, if restless, stretch until dawn. Your hand instinctively reaches to scratch a sudden, phantom itch on your arm, a common companion in these shared, often infested sleeping quarters. You try to suppress the urge, moving only slightly, not wanting to draw attention to your discomfort, nor to disturb the heavy slumbers around you. The idea of evil spirits or unseen dangers feels particularly potent in this unfamiliar place, away from the protection of your own home's threshold. You shift, trying to find a position that feels less vulnerable, pulling your cloak closer around you. The profound lack of artificial light means the night here is an oppressive, consuming blanket. Your eyes, even after long minutes, can discern nothing more than deeper shades of black. Each small sound, a rustle of straw, a soft cough, a shift of weight, becomes amplified, stretching your senses, keeping a part of you alert even as your body aches for oblivion. This is the traveler's night, a fragmented, often uncomfortable surrender to circumstance. You close your eyes, the rough wool of your nightcap a familiar pressure. The unfamiliarity of the shared space, the lingering chill despite the crowded room, and the subtle, persistent hum of unseen life in the straw beneath you, all conspire against true peace. Yet, you surrender to it, an act of sheer human resilience, a quiet acceptance of the burdens and necessities of a life on the road. The biting chill of the night air seeps through your thick woolen cloak, a constant, sharp reminder that your only roof is the vast, star-strewn canvas above. You shift, trying to find a softer spot on the uneven ground, the hard earth pressing against your hip despite the layers of worn fabric and a precious, thin fur you've managed to secure. The scent of pine needles and damp earth rises around you, mingled with the faint, comforting smell of wood smoke from a long-dead fire. Your eyes are wide open, not from unrest, but from the sheer, overwhelming brilliance of the night sky. Without any lamp, any candle, any human light to mar its glory, The constellations wheel overhead in an unbroken, sparkling tapestry. You trace the familiar paths of the Great Bear, its steady rotation a slow, silent clock marking the passage of the hours. This is your timekeeper now, the silent march of the heavens replacing the segmented slumber you might find within walls. You pull your woolen nightcap down tighter, its soft, coarse texture a small comfort against the vast cold. Every rustle of leaves in the distant trees, every snap of a twig, makes your senses prickle. You are deeply aware of the wildness around you, the unseen life that stirs and hunts in the profound darkness. There's a primal alertness that accompanies sleep under the open sky, a thin veil separating your slumber from the untamed world. No soft feather mattress, no woven canopy here, just the raw, exposed reality of existence. You feel the cold, not as a threat, but as an insistent presence. It forces you to curl tighter, to press deeper into the warmth of your meager coverings, to share the precious heat with the ground itself. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of the night wash over you. The distant hoot of an owl, the soft murmur of the wind through the pines, the subtle, almost imperceptible hum of the wilderness. Your first sleep might have come easily, a deep surrender to the day's journey, but this second sleep feels different, a more fragile, more conscious descent. When your eyes open again, the Great Bear has shifted noticeably, a celestial hand moving across the face of the cosmic clock. You know dawn is still hours away, yet the quiet conviction of the sky tells you exactly where you are in the grand cycle of the night. This is not the measured, interrupted sleep of a village or a castle. This is a sleep dictated by the rhythms of the earth and the heavens, a deep, primal connection to the very pulse of the world. You surrender once more, a quiet act of faith, knowing that the stars will keep their watch over you, guiding you towards the first fragile hint of morning light. This raw, elemental way of sleeping, under the vast, uncaring yet magnificent sky, reveals a deep resilience, a quiet communion between human and nature, a timeless dance of rest and wakefulness. The deepest part of the night settles around you, a blanket of absolute, velvet blackness. You stir, not jolted awake, but gently released from your first sleep, a natural ebb in the night's flow. Your eyes open, but see nothing beyond the faint, shifting shadows cast by the dying embers in the hearth. A soft, ruddy glow that barely pushes back the consuming dark. The air is cool, carrying the familiar scents of damp earth, wood smoke, and the close, warm breath of your sleeping family. This is the watch, your hour of quiet wakefulness, a time not for hurried activity, but for soft contemplation. You reach for your worn rosary beads, feeling their smooth, cool surfaces slide through your fingers, each prayer a murmur against the vast silence. Around you, others in the household stir too, their movements barely audible, a cough, a turn on a straw mattress, the soft shift of a nearby animal settling deeper into its own slumber. Perhaps a neighbor checks on a lamb, or a monk in his cell unwraps a precious parchment, its words needing deciphering in the stillness before dawn. This hour belongs to quiet tasks, to hushed conversations, to dreams that feel almost tangible in the dark. But imagine, for a moment, a sudden, impossible intrusion. What if, just as you settle into this profound peace, a harsh, brilliant white light exploded into being? A blinding flash, not from a sputtering candle or a carefully stoked ember, but from some unknown, searing source that instantly banished every shadow, every nuance of the deep medieval night. The warm, inviting dark would rip open, replaced by a stark, unnatural glare that flattened every surface, exposing every sleeping form, every private moment. You would flinch, your eyes aching against the sudden, brutal assault. The quiet introspection, the intimate murmurings, the gentle turning of prayers, all would shatter under this unyielding light. The sense of safety within the darkness, the shared vulnerability that makes the watch so uniquely human, would be stripped away. The faces of your sleeping family, usually obscured and left to their private dreams, would be starkly illuminated, vulnerable and exposed in a way never before experienced. The very rhythm of your segmented sleep, so deeply intertwined with the setting and rising of the sun, would be violently disrupted. This light wouldn't fade or soften. It would simply be constant and unforgiving. The gentle transition to a second sleep, that slow, comforting drift back into slumber as the night deepened, would become an impossibility, driven out by this ceaseless, artificial day. Your body, accustomed to the slow creep of natural light, would protest, confused and unsettled. This imagined light would not just illuminate, it would transform. It would steal the contemplative silence, replace the intimate shadows with an alien brightness, and sever your connection to the primal rhythms of the earth. The profound, natural wisdom of the medieval night, which shaped bodies and souls around the sun's journey, would be forever lost, replaced by an artificial tyranny that would demand a different kind of resilience. A struggle to reclaim darkness in a world suddenly, unnaturally bright. A persistent, damp chill seeps into your bones, a familiar herald of the approaching dawn. You surface from your second sleep, not abruptly, but with the gentle, inevitable pull of the turning world. Your eyes flutter open, accustomed to the profound darkness, now discerning the faintest blush of gray at the edges of the small, unglazed window opening. The air carries the distinct scent of a slowly waking farmhouse, a hint of straw, the earthy aroma of sleeping livestock, and the subtle, lingering trace of wood smoke from last night's hearth. You stretch, feeling the rough, woven wool of your nightcap still warm against your scalp, a familiar comfort against the pervasive cold. Your muscles, still stiff from the day's labor, protest softly. The straw mattress beneath you rustles with your movement, a dry, whispering sound that echoes the quiet stirrings of the household. Around you, the soft breathing of your family fills the small room, your spouse, children, perhaps even a young lamb brought in for warmth during the colder months, its gentle bleating now a soft sigh against the encroaching light. You remember your first sleep, the early descent into slumber shortly after dusk, driven by the absence of lamps and the sheer exhaustion of your day. Then came the watch, that liminal hour in the dead of night when you might have risen. Perhaps you tended to a fussing child, or shared a quiet, private word with your spouse, their face barely visible in the dark. Maybe you offered a silent prayer, or simply gazed at the incredible, unblemished canopy of stars visible through a crack in the door, a natural clock counting the hours. This waking period, far from being an inconvenience, was a quiet space, a different kind of rest woven into the fabric of the night. Now, as the first true light begins to paint the room, you push yourself up, sitting partially upright, a subconscious movement some believe offers protection against unseen dangers that might linger as night recedes. The notion of spirits or ill will feels less potent in the growing light, but the habit remains. You pull your simple woolen blanket closer around your shoulders, the weight of it a grounding presence. The sounds outside are slowly intensifying. A distant cockcrow, the lowing of cattle, the rustle of straw as your chickens begin to stir in their corner of the dwelling. Your body, attuned to these natural rhythms, begins its own internal preparation for the day. This fragmented night, with its deep, first sleep, its contemplative, watch, and its final, second sleep, has not left you weary. Instead, it offers a different kind of renewal, a deep, cyclical rest that prepares you not just for work, but for connection, to your family, to your animals, and to the unbroken rhythm of time itself. You rise, ready to greet the day, your very being a testament to the enduring human capacity to find rest, even in the strangest of nocturnal landscapes.